So the book, The Singular Truth.
Yes, sir.
Um, what made you write The Singular Truth?
Man, a singular truth is what I've been shown over the last 20 years.
Okay.
It was written in the course of maybe 120 days. I'm gonna tell you about the book, man. It's what I was being shown from around 24 years old, and it's really roughly 20 years worth of me going through trials and errors, figuring things out and compressed into a book. But the thing is, I was writing this book for the last 2 years. For the last 2 years, and I was trying to write it. I was trying to write it, but the thing is, I had to be in a certain place to do it. And when I finally, again, in the circle, being in a circle, fellowship with brothers, I finally found that space and got that final revelation to bring it to bring all the glue together. But that's really what it is, man. It's really a man from start to finish finding that truth, coming out of that sleep state, crossing that bridge, going through the trials and errors, going through the part of where he has to forgive, understanding his dark side, understanding all this stuff, and then stepping into that 2.0, 10.0 version of himself, which is walking in his I am, walking in his singular truth.
Yeah. And I think you said something key. You said, that dark side.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people, especially in the space of like healing and spirituality and everything like that, and I've said this before, they don't want to do that deep work, that shadow work. They almost, it's almost like a fear of that dark side. They just want to be in the light and do the foo. It's like, the meditation is great, but things that happen a lot of times when you're getting deep into some of this stuff, when you're dealing with your shit, it can get dark at times. It's like, and I've heard you say this in the video. It's like the darkness is where your treasures lie, but it's also where the demons
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
It's like so many people are afraid to go in that darkness, even though that's where the treasures are, where they get the most answers sometimes, because of what they're afraid they're gonna find. I personally was afraid of that for a long time. I was afraid to crack that door open and go into that room that I created myself, and I realize now that was just me in that room. On the other side of that door, all that shit, all the past trauma, all of that mess is like all the anger, all of that was me. It's like I was afraid of me for so long that I wasn't really willing to accept what was on the other side of the door, but I couldn't accept all of me either. I was only trying to be that, that show, the guy everybody liked, the dude who was always smiling, wearing the mask, kind of like almost you have in your book. I was always wearing that mask of like, everything's fine. Everything, people would ask me, he's like, you good? It's like, yeah, I'm good, man. Everything's fine. On the inside, I'm dying. It's like, and I was so afraid to look at that work that I ran from it for a while, and that's what I'm trying to tell guys. It's like, you gotta do that deep shadow work, man. If you don't address it, it doesn't go away. You just drag it with you. It's coming with you either way. Is that you might as well deal with that and step into that, because that's where your answers are a lot of times.
In the book, man, I refer to that space. I refer to it as the pasture.
I love that.
And I say, you know what? The path to get to that light is a certain path, but you have to travel through that pasture. And once you cross that gate, like that's where those demons live. That's where that child abuse lives. That's where all those places we don't want to face live. But you have to go through it. But the thing is, the power is facing it.
Yeah.
Like, and I agree with you. I'm the same way, man. There was times where I understood certain things were inside of me that I just turned my head to.
Yeah.
But once we face those things, and the thing is, it's just a matter of us calling things what they are.
Yeah.
Meaning, if we had an uncle that did something wrong, or we had parents or teachers that did something wrong, we have to just call it what it is. And like I said earlier, like the only time I found myself angry at my father is when I went to that dark space and saw that he was human down there. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, he was just human. So, but once I called the things what they were, and forgave them, all that power that I've been giving them for years, it all came back to me. You know what I mean? And then I could just keep on going down the journey. That's one of the most crucial parts of traveling the journey, brother.
Yeah.
Going through that dark side and forgiveness. Like once you get past that, man, you're already a new being, brothers.
You had mentioned the kind of the versions of living in the light and living in the darkness.
Yeah.
I would like to argue that you don't even get the light until you go through the darkness. Think about a lotus flower. Where does it start? It starts in the mud at the bottom of the river. Then it springs up, and then you kind of get that. But there's still so much growth that has to take place in the unseen that you don't even know the light until you go through that first. How can you know
really know it?
Yeah, how do you know what your highest version of you are unless you know what your analog is? You know what I mean? Like where that bottom is. I was speaking to somebody a couple of months ago, and we were having questions with their faith. They were having problems with their faith, and they were like, I think you found the thing I was looking for and that I thought I already had. And what I really wanted to express to that person at the time was, you're not ready to go through what I went through to get that, because that's a long journey.
Yeah.
You know, so you actually spend more time in the dark than you do in the light, and you don't realize it until you finally get a glimpse of who you are and where you're going. You know what I mean? Until you can really answer those questions, you've maybe cracked the door on light, but you're not letting the full light in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you know enough to get by as a person, but you're not fulfilled. You're not in love with yourself the way you should be. You don't know what your power is, but you have to go and find it first. I was talking to somebody that basically said, like, it's fairy tales. It's like, oh, there's a castle and a dragon and a knight and a princess and all that stuff. And it's like, you're actually every role in that story. You're the knight that's going to go beat the dragon. You're the dragon who's trying to stop the knight.
Hero's journey.
You're the princess that you're trying to go save. And what you're saving is the pieces of yourself that you have not been able to access until you go through that darkness first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I believe that you don't really know light until you experience the darkness. Because like if we sit in this room all day and never experience sunlight, we would say, okay, we're in this good energy, but we wouldn't really understand what this energy was unless we experience its polar opposite. And then when you think about even going back to the Hermetic text, when it talks about God being the all, you can't say that since you're walking in light energy that you're plugged into God if you're ignoring half of God, which is the darkness. So that's part of the beauty of going down to that dark side, seeing that trauma and all that stuff. Once you get past that, you see the things that generated those things, which is God also. That darkness, like God is that part anyway. And so it's all about balance. It's all about balance between light and once we understand that everything has polarity, that's when life begins to happen. Like that's when a man understands his higher mind and lower mind, or his ego self and Christ self work in harmony. That's when man can go to the second marriage of man and see that him being in his masculinity, his wife being his femininity, that's the true marriage. That's what he can go to his brother saying, you know what, I'm a whole man and I can see other whole men like me, and we can have a third level. Once a man understands that polarity, life happens, bro. So when a lot of religions are teaching only light, they have to understand that's a place of weakness.
Yeah.
Like when certain religions come knock on my door every on Sundays and they're talking only light and forgive. It's like, no, you're trying to take my defensive mechanism away from me.
Right.
Like I want that dark. I don't want to have to go too deep in there, but if I have to, I want access to it. And you're telling me not to have access to it. That's how slavery and all that starts.
Yeah.
When you can put two men on a horse that can control 400, you've wiped out a people's defense mechanism. You know what I'm saying? You can do no wrong.
Man.
So that's why they want to keep us out of that light and dark, because once we have that darkness, our defense mechanism kicks up. Because now we're tied into God.
Right.
If we have, even the Bible says there's a time to kill. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But if you're only light, you don't understand that.
That's why there's a phrase called the wrath of God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For
It's
sure.
balance.
And we talk about that, even with the martial arts. People think you learn martial arts to learn to fight. Is that you actually learn martial arts to fight the battle within, to fight that battle, to be able to fight that battle within. You have the desire. Yeah, when the argument starts, it's like, I really want to punch this guy in the face, but it's that discipline. It's like, nah. It's like I'm not going to do that. I don't need to, because I've already proven who I am. In where it matters. In the dojo with trained people. I know what I'm capable of. I know what's possible to me. I don't need to prove it to you, because you don't matter at the end of the day. It only matters what I feel and what I think. So I don't need to go out here and fight in the streets. If somebody steps in my shoes, I don't need to prove to you that I'm a man, because I know I'm a man. I know what I'm capable of. I know the violence inside of me. I know that dark side, and I can tap into it. It's like we talked about. You got to be able to, have that angel and that demon both inside of you. You walk through the world not with a balled fist, but an open hand. To give. But when necessary, you ball that fist up and deliver maximum devastation.
Yeah.
You got to be capable of both.
Have to be.
Because if you only walk around like this, it's like life's gonna get real hard for you.
Yeah.
But if you only walk around like this, life's gonna run you over.
Yep.
Right.
Facts.
Yeah. So what's the solution? Just have the middle finger up, or just a couple of fingers?
Well, you could be a princess like Edmund, you know, like in the story.
I got you.
When you said that, I was like, huh?
But
no, I get what you're saying.
It's
the hero's tale. It's the hero's tale. So I just fuck with you.
No. But that's the thing that I think a lot of men don't realize is that the softer, if we're characterizing that, it's the softer parts of yourself that you don't allow to be exposed and is being guarded by that dragon. You know what I'm saying? You think that ferocity that you have is being pointed in the right direction because you're a man and you're strong. No. It's the dragon is there when necessary, but the princess is there because that gives you inspiration. Whatever that is, the softer part of you that brings out that if you're a loving father or you're an attentive husband, those type of things. That's a bit of the softer side and the nurturing side of a man that a lot of men don't allow themselves to express. You think you have to be the knight and the soldier all the time, or you just end up being the dragon. You're so multifaceted, but you can't see that because you're programmed by what society is telling you and red pill and all this stuff. There's a lot of truth to some of that, but you have to be exposed to all the truths and then figure out what your truth is.